Greetings, dear friends and dearest companions. We are Lakesh. We are happy to be with your circle. We are extending our vibration to those of you in this session, and yet we extend our reach to those who are not in session, yet whose hearts link and support this beacon of light that pulses through your inner planes. We greet you, dearest ones, dearest companions, in the light and the love of our one and infinite Creator. We wish to express to you the nature of these sessions that you hold, of their significance to the increasing of light on your planetary body. It is as the bell that is rung, a circular bell of light, casting layers and prismic showers of healing energy throughout the fields of your collective consciousness. It is as the much needed rains to the dry plant. And so we encourage you who are a part of this circle and other circles forming around the globe like it to continue on in your endeavors. Know that we of this Confederation do indeed see, feel, hear, and join you in your workings and are very pleased with these happenings. We would offer ourselves at this time in the service of answering any queries upon your hearts at this moment. We are Lakesh.
Hi, Lakesh. Thank you for joining us today. I believe this is my first time hearing of you, and so I'm curious to know more about you. If you have anything to share about where you came from, your any special abilities you might have that you bring to help in the service of others, and we can go from there. So thank you for joining us.
We thank you, our brother, for receiving us. We can indeed offer a brief synopsis / history on our journey and origin point. We of Lakesh are of the density you know as fifth. We are buddies, so to speak, with those you know as Latwi. They are our dear companions in this road of light back to the one. We come from worlds that you know not and likely would not find unless meeting us in this moment to know that they existed. And on these worlds, we behaved and took on the role that the one you call Yeshua took on here on planet Earth. So we also played this role in our respective worlds, and after ascension, joined together as one collective to assist in propagation of this vibration you call the Christ consciousness throughout the various galaxies and solar systems according to the call and the level of suffering of the planet. It is most unusual for a being who intends to play this role to not join a collective, and yet your Yeshua, as you call this entity, has run such heart-filled missions alone quite often. A very, very radiant entity we are proud to call our brother. This is not to say that we could not also solo worlds, so to speak, but we prefer to have company in this form. Forgive us if this information seems superfluous. We wish to be as open with you as we are able. So to simplify, we of Lakesh are of fifth density vibration, operating in the role of expansion of Christ consciousness vibrations throughout the galaxy, assisting those worlds of the most intense suffering, of which your Gaia is included. Hence, we are here have been here more recently in your concept of time to assist in your great transition.
Thank you, Lakesh. I appreciate you providing what you can. Um, it's always good to fulfill the curiosity. I did have a question today about when I take DMT. There's been a common theme for me, and I'm just curious if you had any light to shed on the concept of feline cats and lions, as I seem to feel their presence and see them. And I may have more questions to follow up, but I'm curious if you have any impressions on those aspects that I see. Thank you.
I am Lakesh, and we wish for some clarity from our brother on this. Do you request information on the symbol of the feline or of a specific aspect of the feline as it relates to you?
I think to help out with my question, um, the feeling I have, the thoughts I have, is that these entities of the feline aspect seem to be guardians or gatekeepers to warn me or to allow me to enter when I take this DMT drug. And the feeling I have is sometimes that it's maybe not my time, and so I have regret or fear. And so I take this drug for learning about myself and to see what I can do to speak to my higher selves and to gain more understandings about my role here and to possibly serve better for others. And so when I go with that intention, I nevertheless feel that these entities may not want me there, but I do not want to misunderstand. And so these questions I cannot answer for myself. And so I look to see if you have any light to shed on that and perhaps um, see how I can use this better for as a spiritual approach in the service of others. Thank you.
We thank you, our brother, for the clarity. We of Lakesh appreciate your transparency and bravery to, even while faced with signs that may show the way is going to be tumultuous in your travels of spirit, the bravery that you show to press forward anyway for your desire to expand yourself and to serve others. This is most admirable. Unfortunately, we are not able to comment on the specific meaning for the felines presenting in this way to you. However, we can generally reflect on the idea that every incarnation, even when it applies to metaphysical exploration has specific themes preset to explore. There is a set of pre-incarnative themes that are set for a certain purpose within your physical life, your everyday life, and growth. And they're also the same for the metaphysical life, certain templates and roadmaps that will allow the incarnate, should he or she awaken to those metaphysical abilities, to follow in tandem with the 3D life this reflection of themes and catalysts to overcome and to grow and evolve the soul. So we might say that the gatekeepers are ensuring that a certain mentality is maintained, that a certain balance is maintained during these explorations. For perhaps if the gatekeepers, the guardians, the barriers, as it were they not in place, there could be a deviation from the trajectory of evolution at this metaphysical level for this specific incarnation. In the same way as we are showing this instrument a scene they have seen before of the building with the balconies and the cat that leaves the safety of the apartment and attempts to jump onto the railing of the balcony, which would be very dangerous, for the height is great. And we see the feline's companion placing an item to bar the way from the feline from getting up onto the railing and potentially falling off the balcony. And we see that this barrier is of the nature of those clear protrusions. This instrument would call them spikes, this spiked strip that creates a barrier on the railing so that the feline can peruse the balcony's interior but cannot jump up onto the railing and fall over to its death. The feline likely attempts to jump outside of the balcony safety and collides with the spikes and feels that they are of a danger to it, that they are intimidating, that they are hurtful items, and it may see them and feel trepidation and concern. And yet, these spikes, these barriers along the railing of the balcony serve the purpose of ensuring that the feline does not harm themselves or go away it is not supposed to, that is not ideal. And so we can take this analogy and apply it to the metaphysical experience where those may find, even if they have fully engaged in practices that would crack open their psyche and psychic perception, they may have these guardrails, they may have these measures in place that, despite feeling quite scary and intimidating, are simply designed to keep them from going out of bounds and the psyche falling to its death. We hope this makes some sense, and you may ask us for clarity if desired.
Thank you. I think that's a lot for me to integrate and understand. And for now, I will think on it. So thank you for your response. You seem to hit a, a memory of mine, and so I need to think on it. So thank you for that.
We thank you, our brother. Is there another question that you of this circle have for us?
I would like to ask a question if I could. Thank you.
Of course.
Would you consider the concept of justice to be similar or the same to the concept of karma? And if so, could you maybe define or detail some of the differences and similarities?
We are Lakesh, and we thank you for this interesting question. From our hearts, your human, earth human justice and the rather cosmic principle of karma have some notable differences. From our perspective, your justice is often skewed by the lens of those who have the power to enact it and declare what justice is. Where, as with karma, this is an overarching manifestation that aids in the evolution of beings. It is a subtle but all pervasive principle of motion and action that also acts as an guidepost for the incarnation to understand what is needed from them in mind, body, and spirit in order to move forward in that mind, body, and spirit. This principle of justice, as you, not you particularly, but as humans in this current civilization, how you see it and how other beings perceive this world, this word on their worlds varies. However, karma needs no individual to give it life, so to speak, or to give it a manifestation in the form of laws and books to dictate it. It simply happens. It simply is, where justice often has this more tangible and created template in order for it to be enacted. May we provide more clarity on this?
Understand what you're saying. I understand that our society, as having been run in 3D mode, has a lot to be desired in the department of enacting justice properly. I'm just trying to align proper concept ideas as maybe perhaps a little idealistic. But I do understand what you're saying. If you want to clarify some based on the concept of justice being idealistic or as idealistic as possible, if not, I do have a follow-up question.
We are Lakesh. And to clarify, are you our brother asking if we perceive your world's justice to be idealistic in nature?
No, what I mean is if idealistically justice were dispensed equilaterally and fairly, would it be a fair comparison with what karma is?
Again, this is but our perspective, and those of our brothers and sisters of other social memory complexes may have their own perspective. So understand that we do not speak for the whole of the Confederation. And as was said by our brother Oxel during your last gathering, the ultimate decider of what is true for you is you. So seek your discernment and reference the vibration of our words and what your heart tells you, and let that be the decider. However, we will say that in Lakesh's opinion, even the most idealistically carried out justice in a what you have are countries, we do not see it having a direct expression that rings true to the essence and principle that is karma. at the cosmic level. There is an aspect of karma that is solely related to the soul's growth and very much entangled with the mind, with the emotional body, and the catalyst of the individual. This principle aids in the growth, aids in the evolution, whereas justice, even idealistically carried out, is external presenting. The external presenting of justice does not necessarily equate with the balancing and the principle of karma being enacted or evolved within the individual. An example that comes to mind is perhaps in a perfect society, so to speak, there is a law that ensures that those who commit crime A will suffer the consequences. On the outside, the justice is served, yet those involved may be innocent, and the external circumstances simply led to the conclusion of their being guilty and the justice being enacted. Internally, however, the energy dynamics of the crime between victim and perpetrator, between the situation, these karmically will have an entirely different profile. For in this example, the one having justice enacted to them is innocent, and yet there is this judgment placed upon them that does not carry over energetically. There is no karma enacted in this way, in this individual. So for us, this is an imbalance between the catalytic nature of karma within the individual, within the energy of the situation, and this external justice being enacted. We hope this brings clarity. One is, in some regard, to us, purely surface level, where karma always penetrates to the heart, mind, and soul of the incarnates involved. You may query us further on this matter if desired.
Hey, Lakesh, our brother Fred has lost his internet service or cell service. And so, if I may follow up with that, I, with an example perhaps that may help or not, um, in terms of justice, I recall a situation when we traveled to a city, Philadelphia, and there was a situation in the streets where there was a fight between two individuals, a physical fight, and I was not sure of what steps I should take because I see this altercation of violence in front of me. And I wonder to myself, is it called upon me to interfere? Am I here to observe? Am I here to send love? And I question, what if I took it upon myself to physically interfere? Will I build karma? Am I enacting my own sense of justice when I don't know the true situation here? And so I think about that, and I wonder if you can shed light on that in terms of justice and karma.
We thank you, our brother, for this question, and we are holding our other brother in an embrace of love and light, that he may return to us soon, though we are still connected with him and he with you in this circle. Again, we must apologize for our perspective on this externally expressed idea of justice by your civilization is at odds with our understanding of karma. In the situation that you describe, we feel it is beneficial to note that you considered clearly what it is you might do. You were aware and reflected in the moment on what would be best for all involved. In this thought, for us, to us, lies the vibration of true service, which is not to act on the impulse and not to simply act on what the self wants to do in the moment and not consider all of the elements of the other selves involved. And so we feel that you were in the state of right action. As for what would have happened had you involved yourself unrequested or had acted on impulse, we cannot say how the outcome would be. However, we do note that for the individual that is seeking and working with their mind, body, spirit complex in the ways of love, in the ways of positive polarization, that when the moment comes for you to need to act truly, then you will act, and there will be no doubt. There is a saying that where there is doubt, there can be no doubt. And so, if in this moment you perceived the doubt that you should be involved, then to us, there is no doubt that it was not the right time for you to involve yourself. Does this make sense?
Yes, thank you. It makes sense, and I feel that I've balanced the situation out, and just hearing you say that helps affirm what I feel that is right. So thank you.
We thank you. we encourage, as a general practice, this idea of deeply considering one's thoughts and one's actions and how they may affect the whole. We ourselves consider this, though on a planetary scale, before we act, for we understand that not every happening requires our direct intervention, that there are fruits for those involved that will flourish, that will be best tended with us simply in the observation mode, present and creating space and making space if we are needed, but not simply acting on impulse and disregarding the dynamics at play.
Thank you, Lakesh. I don't have any more queries for you tonight. Thank you.
We thank you, our brother. We would ask if there are any other queries on the heart of this circle. We are so grateful to have spent this time with you. We feel great joy to provide service in this more direct and vocal way. We see and connect with many of you throughout the inner planes. And now you may put a name to the light body, so to speak, that you interact with. We cannot depart without saying a few words of encouragement. We see and hear and feel you, and we think you are doing very well. We encourage you to continue to look after yourselves. Now more than ever, it is important between the heavy inner workings and shadow work and purging you undergo, that you make time for leisure to lighten the heart and engage the senses in a childlike manner. This practice will be very healing and grounding for you, and also to remember the support that you receive from your planetary body, your Gaia. We love you very much, dear ones, and are always with you should you require our vibrations. We leave you now in the incomparable light and matchless love of the one infinite creator. Adonai.